ASIC miners are the only way to mine Bitcoin directly, and unlike GPU mining, which you can accomplish quite casually actually with something like a gaming PC, with an ASIC, you're actually never connected to a computer. It is the computer. To set it up or to make changes to the settings, you connect a computer to a shared network that the ASIC is on, but after it's running, you don't need any computer connected to it. You can just shut the door and walk away forever. So, how are you supposed to obsessively monitor your ASIC farm remotely? I'm going to tell you how I do it. My name is Nicholas Johnson, and this is the Space Warehouse. On one hand, this is super handy. You don't have to build a whole nother computer every time you run out of PCIe slots but want to add another card, like with GPU mining. You can just set up as many ASICs as you can afford to buy and let them hash away at that sweet SHA 256 until they melt the solder off the exit fans. The downside to this reality, though, is that you don't get a direct line to refresh the statistics on each ASIC miner, to scrutinize the theoretical hash rate compared to what you're getting in real time, to peek at intake and exhaust temperatures, or wonder if this rejection rate is within spec. To do all that, you need a computer that's sitting on the same network as the ASICs in person. But if you have any experience with Bitcoin ASIC miners, you'll know that you don't want to inhabit the same space as they do in person. They're loud. My solution up until today has been this old Lenovo laptop that I just leave on in Bill's office over at the warehouse. It's on the same network as the ASICs, and then I just matrix in through the Chrome remote desktop from anywhere. Nothing against Lenovo, I'm sure they have fine computers now, but this one is like 7 or 8 years old, and sometimes when I call upon it remotely, it won't wake up. And other times it's just dumb and old and slow. So this gives me an excuse to A, spend money, which I love doing, and also to build another computer, a purpose-built computer that will live inside the mine and just haunt the network 24 hours a day. Maybe I'll give it a webcam so that I can just obsessively check to make sure that the roof still isn't leaking if it's a rainy day. And I don't see any reason not to break off a 3080 from the studio rig so this thing can build some wealth of its own and have a reason not to go to sleep. I'm sure it's user error, but this Lenovo laptop just will not listen to the system settings in place to not go to sleep. Just can't do it. Just goes to sleep. So before we put this thing together, I found a program that can clone one of my other computer's hard drives, so I won't have to do any system settings or set anything up at all. It'll just poof, have all my system settings and all my passwords and even the overclock for this very GPU all baked in, as if it's already been running for 6 months like this one. It's called Macrium Reflect, and even with the boot drive that's currently running, you can just plug in a different hard drive with a SATA cable and tell it to clone the currently running main drive onto this fresh one. So let me get this thing powered up and get this copied over so that part is done. Love that. So here we go, building a computer from its parts. I'm going to edit the following action sequence into a short, digestible series of clicks and taps and plugging sounds. It might even get a little ASMR. That's a power button. I've got 3 different microphones and 3 cameras to cover this shot. Okay, building a computer. How hard can it be? Where's the power button go? Here. I didn't think about a monitor, but I got this Ninja 5 for recording cameras. Moment of truth, I guess. Yeah. Voila. There's my Windows, just like I know it. Real messy. GPU should kick on any second. There it goes. Okay, well, I'm gonna shut that down for, well, there you have it. A loose conglomeration of majority budget parts paired with one of the most glorious graphics cards on the planet, the RTX 3080. This is a B450 motherboard paired with the brains of a Ryzen 5 1500 CPU, an 8GB stick of the cheapest name brand DDR4, With a name like Value Select, I can only imagine this is Corsair's worst performing RAM. We have a Kingston 480GB SSD. I did go with the gold power supply from Corsair just because it's going to sit in a super hot room and run forever. I'll very rarely ever actually use this computer while in the physical presence of it. I'm almost exclusively just going to remote into it from here or from anywhere actually. Let's get this thing over to the warehouse and get it on a rack and get it put to work monitoring the system. Okay, the new Mine computer is on the network and set up with Chrome Remote Desktop. Let's call her up and see what she has to say. As long as you're hardwired into the same physical network as your ASIC machines, you can simply type in their IP addresses and they have their own little interface to show you what's happening inside their bellies. So I already had all these tabs open, but this is my L3+. Temperatures 66 degrees Celsius, that's fine. It's the third one. That's the one I slowed way down because it was having some hardware errors. It still is. These are the big boys. They run a little hotter. 77 degrees though, that's fine. I'm fine with 77 degrees. Yeah, the intake temperature is actually, well, that's Celsius, that's pretty hot. So, check it out. I can see what's happening in the mine from anywhere. And actually, I can even, I'm just gonna go ahead and punch this up. Space Warehouse Mine. I don't know if it's gonna kick me off of there. It did. Yeah, check it out. I can look at the mine from my phone from anywhere. I could be on the beach in Miami. Low pool rejection rate. This one's been running for 14 days straight. Great, 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 great. All great. All right, this demonstration has concluded. Next up, total immersion liquid cooling. This stuff finally arrived. I can't wait to just dunk some graphics cards underwater and see what happens. Goodbye.